Now some of you were already looking at some of the artwork that I do in history and geography, world history. I even do a lot of art history. Some people say, what's really funny about art history? I'm like, the word itself, flying buttresses. That is a joke right there. Come on. It happened in the oldest town in the United States. I'll never forget it. It was like a sign that I was supposed to start drawing these. I was in St. Augustine, Florida, down for a bowl game, for a West Virginia bowl game. And my cousin and I were driving along, and I heard these disc jockeys. Actually, I wrote it down, so I didn't hear it. This is the very first history bluff that I ever drew. It was actually in the oldest town, blah, 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 Florida. These two DJs were talking about the 100 Years' War. And they had all these people calling in to see how many years it actually was. And the people who called in were hilarious. And I said, this is funny. And he wanted to turn it to the rock and roll. I said, no, keep this on. And I got out of the car and I just started writing stuff on napkins and anything. I just came up with about 20 ideas just from that. And here's the first one. It says, the 100 Years' War. And the king saying, who started this war again? I forget it. The nice thing about that is I've had people tell me that, you know what, you're not gonna sell anybody on history. And I'm like, oh man, it doesn't matter if I'm in the comic pages or in the history book page. I love being in the history book page. And I disagree with him. I said, look at Gary Larson. His subject matter most of the time was science. I'll never forget the one he had this little petri dish, and he had these bacteria things, and they had sombreros. That's just funny right there. It said, adios, amigos. I know nothing about science. I got that. You know, I know that. That's funny. So I started drawing all these history bluff things. And a lot of the times, I will get no laughter, or some laughter, or some people even... And my favorite one is delayed laughter. Because I'll take delayed laughter than no laughter at all. I have these pink papers that I want you guys to take home. You can go to the online bit where I do this. You can actually go in and critique. You can go and critique all the artists' work. No, I'm just kidding. And I could write a book of some of the critiques that I got. I'm just thinking of, I wrote it down. This one here, this is true. Pull the cane whenever I need to stop cane, alright? This one here is one of my favorites. I got hate mail for this. And I'm so proud of it because I got mail. Anybody know Star Wars and anybody know Shakespeare? Okay. This, the Yoda and R2 comic got a lot of Star Wars fans writing to me, either laughing uncontrollably or threatening to come after me with their lightsabers. It's Yoda laying flat face down with a dagger in his back, and it says Et2D2. And after about 5 or 6 paragraphs of writing to the president of a Star Wars Federation, I'm just thinking that this guy was like 20 years old. Well, that's, yeah, 20 years too. But, and after all this, I'm thinking, how can I eat? You know, it's like that episode of Saturday Night Live when Captain Kirk was at the Star Trek convention telling him, we kill a life, you know? But I wrote this really long response and saying, you know, everyone has an opinion, blah, 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 everyone's entitled to my opinion, blah, 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 whatever. And then I wrote at the very end, may the force be with you. You know, I told you about my history teacher who made it fun. The history books don't tell you anything. You want some good reading material? Check out some of the books called Don't Know Much About History. You'll remember that because that's a song. Don't know much about history. Don't know much about this question is asked a lot of times when I go up to there's a cartoon museum up in upstate New York, and I've gone up 2 or 3 times and been the artist in residence. They asked me about the best kind of cartoons. Bachelor of Humor. And I did this one out of one bloodshot eye about 2 in the morning. And it's a teepee. And it says, out of teepee in the teepee. And the bubble's the same crap. I got tons. I mean, when I say tons, usually 2 or 3 critiques is great. But I got like 30 on this one. And I didn't even think it was funny. I just needed to get something in for a deadline. And so something that was a no-brainer made a lot of people laugh. Now, the stuff that I think, and I think you might agree with this, the one that I spend lots of time with, and I think, hey, this is funny. I'm laughing and nobody else laughs. You know, they laugh a little bit more whenever I present it to them. So if I could read all my people. This is the field trip to the Hall of Presidents. And the sign over here says, pointing this way, the other sign pointing this way, it says, Hayes, Grant, and Cleveland, and over here is Jefferson, Nixon, and Truman. And it's hard to read upside down, by the way. And the one guy, they have their maps of the Hall of Presidents, and the one guy says, hey, I just saw Rutherford, Ulysses, and Grover. I think that's funny. Those are 3 names that I might name my kids. All right? He says to the other kid, who's over there? And he says back in reply, just Tom, Dick, and Harry. Being funny every day is hard. Writing to me is just as fun as the cartooning. But I'm telling you, there are times when I can write for 2, talking to you guys out there in the art world, there's times that I can write material for 2 months. And there's other times, like right now, I have no idea what I want to do. There'll be 2 months that I do nothing as far as artwork. There's other times that I just write. The cartoonist gig's the best. Think about it. If I draw 2 or 3 months in advance, send it into the syndicates, I can go on my summer vacation. That's what Gary Larson did from the Far Side. He was having, think how funny that guy was. He had to go on a sabbatical, so where'd he go? To the deepest, darkest Africa. And he went to jungles and stuff like that and came up with even more crazy ideas. Cartoonists, those of you who are aspiring cartoonists, it's awesome because you're an artist. Con artist. Artist, you're a writer, you're a director, you're a producer, you're an actor, you're a teacher, you're a comedian. You know, I love all those things. So to have a job that pulls all those in is just great. And to anybody out there who would like to be a writer, a humorous, illustration, or a cartoonist, because sometimes you got guys that can draw, but can't write. And other times you got guys that can write, but can draw. And that's when the syndicates say, well, we got to get these 2 together. I can tell you this, draw everything and anything, you youngins up there, and read everything and anything, and watch everything. I draw a lot of characters. One of the best assignments I can still remember